PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
She just goes a little mad sometimes.
Do you ever feel like you're normal and the rest of the world has lost its collective mind?
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of 3.
Do you find people saying this to you a lot?
Are you totally deranged?
Are you looking for a looking glass to pass through?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Or looking for a rabbit hole to fall down?
Who could think of a better punishment, really? Everything's the same here. It's just a little worse.
Guess what?
Life's a bitch. Now so am I.
You found it. Welcome to Platinum Rose's Garden.
Hello, my darlings. Welcome to another week here in Platinum Rose's Garden. I'm your host, Platinum Rose Lady, welcoming you back on April 1st, Saturday, April 1st, 2017. Ugh. Oh, it has been a few days. Oh boy, we've had a couple of days up here. Massachusetts, the funny thing about living in Massachusetts, which is a great state to live in, is that we have a saying up here about the weather. If you don't like it, wait 2 minutes, it'll change. And the last couple of days have been real great examples of that. It's been raining and then snowing and then sleeting and then raining and then snowing and then nothing and then rain and snow, and it's just been pretty disgusting. I hate walking in this kind of weather. It's just the pits. Other than that, it's been a pretty okay week for me. I hope everybody had a great week out there. But, of course, there's always supernatural news to talk about. And the best supernatural news of all we have been blessed with. And the Padalecki family has been blessed. The Padalecki princess is here. Jared and Genevieve shared with the fans that their daughter, Odette Elliott, was born on March 17th. So they'll never forget her birthday, that's for sure. It's the day everybody gets hammered. Hooray. No, mom and baby are doing great. Genevieve has collaborated with Pop and Sugar, and they are selling a leather heart tag, and 50% of the money from those tags are going to go to Planned Parenthood and the Human Rights Campaign. You can buy those at popandsuki.com /products and go from there, or probably do a search on their site, which is just awesome. I am so excited. Jen was sweet enough to share a picture, which Jared shared as well, of it's a picture of Genevieve with little baby Odette, and we can't see much of the little baby, other than the fact that she's already got a full head of dark hair, and very little teeny delicate little baby hands, and she just looks so sweet. And Genevieve looks like she might be standing in the picture. I don't know how women stand up after they have babies. I don't know how women have babies, period. Speaking as a woman, checking the parts, yep, still a woman. I don't know how women do it. I don't. I absolutely don't. And, because I don't have any children. I'm not the maternal type. It's just not who I am. I'm too nervous to have kids. I'm too, just nervous. But I have mad, sick respect for moms who are good moms. And, my sister is a mom. She's, had 3 kids. and is built like a pretzel stick. Needless to say, I hate my sister. No, I don't. I love my sister. She's awesome and she's a great mom. But I'm like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you did that. I really and truly don't. So much congratulations and love to Jared and Genevieve and their 2 kids, Tom and Shep, who have now welcomed into the world their little baby sister, Odette Elliott. I love the name Odette. I absolutely love it. I think it's such a beautiful, very feminine name. The obviously it's the name of the heroine from the ballet Swan Lake. Very beautiful name. I absolutely love it. So much love and congratulations to the Padalecki clan, which has expanded by 1, and she's very cute, and she now has a whole cadre. I suppose that's the right word. Cadre, cabal, posse. I'm not really sure. Of fairy godmothers out there, and probably some fairy godfathers too. I'm not entirely sure I qualify as a fairy godmother. I don't exactly fit the poofy dress and Glinda look. I would if someone asked me to, but I think I actually qualify as more of a scary godmother than a fairy godmother, but what the hell. Okay. Now that the good stuff is out of the way, I do have to, oh, fuck it. Y'all have poked the bear again. You really have. Some of you out there. For everybody who has been wonderful and sweet and supportive and fantastic and great to Jared and Genevieve, which most Supernatural fans are, for the most part, you also have the people who are, let's face it, absolute fucking assholes. Jared was chastised by people who have apparently nothing better to do than tell other people how to run their lives, because he dared to actually go out to the bar that he owns they had an opening night at the bar, and he's a co-owner of the bar, and he was there, opening night, trying to be a good, business owner. And apparently some people have a fucking problem with that. Also, people have bitched that it took so long for the Padaleckis to announce, the baby's name, show a picture, because they feel that it took them too long because the Padaleckis have to answer to these people. Oh, no, wait, that's right. They don't. The fact that Jared and Genevieve are willing to share any pictures with us or share any personal pictures with us boils down to the fact that Jared and Genevieve are really super awesome, great people. They do not owe the fans any of that information. They give it to us out of the goodness of their heart. For anybody to be like, well, you should have told us sooner, they didn't give us the information soon enough, so we're pissed. Fuck you. Fuck you with a chainsaw. See, Jared and Genevieve are too nice and too good-hearted people to say things like that to people like that. I'm not. I will tell you when you're being a fucking asshole piece of shit. And anybody who went online and trashed the Padaleckis for that reason, guess what? You're a fucking piece of shit. Also, the same thing to the people who decided, well, we're pissed off at Genevieve because, she's using her baby to make money. Because this whole, she's using her baby to make money because of this charity thing, which nobody has to do if they don't want to. Fuck you. The fact that, it's Planned Parenthood and we're pro-life. Fuck you again. And all this other stuff where these people have to just, piss on the Padaleckis and just basically be fucking jerks. Now that's not even getting into the fucking crazy tin hat motherfuckers that are out there claiming that Genevieve and Danielle, Jensen's wife, are beards. 3 kids between each wife and they're just beards. Again, see back to fuck you. Fuck off. Fuck off as far as you can, and when you get there, fuck off about 20 more miles. And anybody who has a problem with that, In the words of somebody else from Massachusetts who I happen to respect a lot, WWE superstar John Cena, you want some? Come get some. You have a problem with me? I am not hard to find. PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com. You assholes have made me forget I'm a lady. Anybody out there who takes the attitude that any celebrity owes them any personal information is an entitled, spoiled bitch and should not call themselves a Supernatural fan. Anybody who is out there saying shit about the charities that Genevieve chooses to sponsor, you don't get to have a say in what somebody else sponsors. All of a sudden, you've got a problem and you want to climb on the, I'm pro-life, so I don't have a problem, so I have a problem with Planned Parenthood. Guess what? Don't support that charity. She's also supporting a human rights charity. If you have a problem with the Human Rights Campaign, fuck you again. Seriously, I don't know what goes through some people's heads. Oh no, wait, I do what goes through their heads. Nothing. Fuck the haters. Fuck them all. And again, see, you want some. Come get some. Well, now that aggression's out of the way, let's get to this Supernatural episode recap for the week.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Season 12, Episode 16 of Supernatural, Ladies Drink Free. The then segment of the episode deals with Claire Novak, the daughter of Jimmy Novak, Castiel's vessel, who has found a life as a hunter with time living with Jody, Sheriff Jody, and Alex from the episode, Alex, Annie, Alexis, Ann. But she has left them and is now living as a hunter, which Sam and Dean really aren't all that crazy about, although she says she knows what she's doing. Also, the then deals with werewolves. Werewolves in the Supernatural universe don't go for the whole American Werewolf in London kind of a thing, 4-footed and furry, but they're no less dangerous. And full-blooded, pure-blooded werewolves don't actually have to change with the full moon from the sound of things. And we're also dealing with the British men of letters, which we've been dealing with for most of the season. And now we are at now. Now, as it turns out, is in Wisconsin, and we see a young woman leaving a bar, and she texts someone. The someone turns out to be her brother, and her brother has caught her in a lie and is taking her home. They're walking through the woods, and it's very obvious that the young woman is very dissatisfied with the town she lives in and wants to leave, as she keeps talking about leaving. As they're walking, she says she hears a noise. He goes to investigate, and she goes to leave to go back to the bar. The thing is, as he's looking in the woods, he hears a scream. He comes back. She's lying on the ground, unconscious. It doesn't look like she's dead or hurt in any way, but she is unconscious. He is attacked by a masked figure and eventually killed when the person plunges their hand into him and rips out his heart. Obviously, we're dealing with a werewolf, which then approaches her as we get the opening credits. We come back and we see Sam and Dean inside the British Men of Letters American station, which is where all of the bad action happened in the raid. We find out they have been asked to come to the place by Mick Davies. Dean is less than happy about the fact that they've been summoned, which is Dean's words. Mick tells them about a supposed animal attack in Wisconsin. As they're talking, he tells them about some more about the British Men of Letters, including a place called Kendrick's, which is a school in Britain where the British Men of Letters train the people that become British Men of Letters. Sam refers to it as Hogwarts and is pretty impressed by the whole idea. Dean is decidedly not. It sounds like they're dealing with a pure-blooded werewolf, and Mick says that he wants to come along with them, and Dean says he's not really happy with this idea. Sam's okay with it, and Dean's of the opinion that Sam has to babysit Mick because Mick's not really much of a fighter. And we see them driving to Wisconsin. Mick is in the back seat of Baby listening to a podcast, and while Sam is in the front seat, obviously in the passenger seat, looking through the lore from the British Men of Letters, and they find out from their talk with Mick that Martin Luther, the monk who eventually founded what would become Protestantism, was one of the early hunters. Interesting. I don't know how the Protestants feel about that, but what the hell. They also talk about werewolves and the fact that there haven't been any werewolves in Britain since the 1920s, that the British Men of Letters wiped out all of the werewolves in Britain, including people who had been bitten but hadn't hurt anybody. The Winchesters bring up that they know of a hunter who was bitten and hasn't harmed any people. He eats, animal hearts. Mick is skeptical about this whole idea, and I'm sitting there going, oh man, you guys really shouldn't have told this dude about Garth. They wind up at a hotel that Mick has booked for them. It's actually a really nice hotel. Mick comments it's only 3 stars, but it's all he could find. The Winchesters are both a little bit like, oh my gosh, kind of look. When Mick brings up the fact that he's gotten 3 suites for them, Sam looks a little, I want to say panicked at the idea that he's not going to be in the same room with Dean. Dean looks a little annoyed too. I mean, I don't know, codependence on them just looks so sweet. Sam's got this kind of look in his eyes like, I'm not going to be sleeping in the same room with my big brother. I don't think I like this. I thought it was really kind of adorable. Dean, on the other hand, is like, a little bit more happy about the accommodations. Walks in after tossing Sam the keys. We see Dean walking inside and stuffing his pocket with free mints and stuff like that. You can tell Dean's gonna rip this place off for pretty much everything he can get his hands on. We see the next morning, the guys are in their Fed suits, standing outside talking about the hotel, and Dean's kind of gushing about the good night's sleep that he got and the fact that, the pillows are so comfortable and the beds are great, and that Dean had gone for a swim earlier in the morning because the place apparently has an indoor pool. And Sam comments that, that he didn't know that Dean had brought a bathing suit, and Dean tells him that he didn't bring a bathing suit. So now we all get the image in our head of Dean skinny dipping in the hotel pool. Did it suddenly get warm in here? Oh no, that's just me. I need a drink. Sam spent the night reading more British Men of Letters lore because he's Sam, my little precious. But he did find out some stuff because he's just smart like that, precious angel. That the Brits did try a cure for lycanthropy in the past involving plasma. Mick says that the cure was a failure. When Mick asks how they enjoyed the accommodations, Dean kind of snorts and makes a remark about how he's had better nights sleeping in Baby. When Sam kind of looks at him like, why did you do that? Look on his face. Dean flips the comment off about how he didn't want to give Mick the satisfaction of knowing how much he enjoyed the hotel because Dean Winchester is a brat. I mean, we love him. We do love Dean. We love him very much. I know all you Dean divas out there love him very much. I will admit to being a Samazon, but I am Dean curious. But I will also be the first to admit Dean Winchester is a brat. The guys go to the hospital to interview Hayden, the young woman who survived the attack that her brother did not. The young woman's mother, however, says that she is sleeping and that she doesn't want her talking right now with Agents McVee and Fleetwood, Sam and Dean's aliases. And she tells them to get out of the room, but she will talk with Dr. John Buckingham, who turns out to be Mick in a stolen doctor's coat, because Sam and Dean had told Mick to wait outside the room. The mother goes out in the hallway talking with the agents, quote, quote, while the doctor, quote, quote, talks with Hayden and also examines her. As he looks at her arms, Hayden has been scratched and, pretty torn up by whatever attacked her. Sam and Dean, talking with the mother out in the hallway, find out that she's been dealing with, people saying that they're here about attacks, that they're saying that her daughter was attacked by Bigfoot and all this stuff like that, and that one of them was this very persistent young woman who said she was with Fish and Wildlife, but the mother didn't buy it. She feels like the girl was just one of these Bigfoot nuts, that she was a young girl, barely, right around Hayden's age, and had a really bad attitude, and a young blonde. I wonder who that could be. The problem is Mick, who's still checking Hayden's injuries, unwraps one of the bandages and realizes that one of her injuries is not a scratch or a cut, it's a bite. Hayden has been infected and is going to turn into a werewolf. The thing is, when Mick goes back out in the hallway, he lies to Sam and Dean, saying that he didn't see any signs that Hayden had been bitten, as we all sit there as the audience and, all go, what the fuck, you lying English bastard. We find out that, obviously the young woman with the blonde hair and bad attitude is Claire Novak. And Claire has been hunting alone and has been lying to Jody about it. She calls Sheriff Jody Mills, leaves her a message, and talking about how she's looking at colleges. I will actually text her, leaves her a text about how she's looking at colleges. Because lying never has consequences in the supernatural universe. People don't learn. Dean calls Claire's other phone, leaving a silly message, but she instantly tweaks onto the fact that it's Dean. She meets up with the Winchesters and meets Mick for the first time at the hotel. And she tells them what she's found out so far. And Mick says that he's going to turn in and that he has to file a report. Claire and the Winchesters talk some more, and both Sam and Dean can tell that Claire hasn't had a decent meal in a while. So Dean hands her the hotel menu, tells her to go crazy, that it's all on Mick's dime, referring to Mick as Harry Potter, which I don't know how many Potter fans out there went, hey, don't insult Harry by comparing him to this Phoebe. Said Phoebe is off at the hospital, however, and is obviously going to kill Hayden before she turns. He does look, kind of conflicted about it. He looks like he doesn't want to do it. He goes to put some kind of, he has a needle which he goes to put some kind of injection into her IV tube, but as he's doing that, the moon comes out. Hayden wakes up, transforming into a werewolf, and attacks Mick and scratches him pretty deeply. He stabs her with the needle. It looks like he stabs her right in the heart. Hayden falls to the floor, turns back into a human being, and dies. Mick, like I said, who has been scratched by Hayden quite deeply, leaves the hospital room and walks down the corridor, clutching his shoulder, as Hayden's mother runs back into the room, screaming when she sees her daughter's body on the floor. We come back, it's still at the hospital. The Winchesters and Mick, along with Claire, have been summoned to the hospital by one of the doctors, who pulls back the sheet from Hayden's body. They don't know how she died. And Hayden's body now has no external injuries. And the thing is, after the doctor leaves, the Winchesters, Claire and Mick, have a bit of a confab where Mick's lies are starting to pile up one upon the other. Is he's still saying, well, I didn't see her have a bite. I didn't find a bite, which we all know is bullshit. Because there's no way that her body would have healed like that unless she'd already turned. Hayden seems to have been turned. The Winchesters and Claire and Mick come to the conclusion that if her brother was just flat out killed, that Hayden was bitten, probably, and that means she was bitten for a reason, possibly by somebody who knew her. They make a decision. Sam and Claire are going to go and talk to Hayden's friends. Dean and Mick are going to go to the bar that Hayden had been seen at, and where she had been booted out of. Information Claire had picked up. It turns out that Hayden was seeing, at least according to the bartender, the bartender that Dean and Mick speak to first, a young man named Justin. Hayden was seeing a bartender named Connor. Connor talks with Mick and Dean, where Mick tries to have some alibi action happening when Dean asks him where he was last night, as an example when they're talking with Connor. Mick is not terribly good at lying. In fact, he's really kind of bad at it. Connor makes a remark or two about Claire that aren't very nice, and Dean threatens to break his face. When they get outside, Dean finds out from Mick what happened with Hayden, and that, Hayden was turning, and the whole situation gets extremely, extremely tense. They talk for a minute, more like argue in the street. I'm kind of surprised nobody was looking like these two guys are yelling at each other or talking rather loudly. And Dean brings up the whole thing that happened with Magda Peterson without actually saying her name back in the episode American Nightmare. And he brings up the fact that, this girl was a psychic and killing people, but it wasn't really, it wasn't her fault. She was being abused and was lashing out and didn't realize she was killing people. And they let her live. He's pissed off that Mick had wound up having to kill Hayden with a turns out what was in the needle was silver nitrate. Mick defends his actions that Hayden was trying to kill him. Mick knows what happened to Magda, though, which the Winchesters, as of right now, still don't know, that after Sam and Dean dropped Magda off after the whole mess with her family, they let her go. Magda was going to go to another family member. She was waiting at a bus station and had gone into the ladies' room, unknowing that she had picked up a tail, the tail being British men of letters executor Mr. Ketch, who shot her dead in the bathroom. Something Mick knows that Dean does not. And I have a feeling when Dean and Sam find out, there is going to be hell to pay. Claire finds out after being incredibly rude to Sam, because she was going to be the one going in to talk with Claire's going to be the one going in to talk to Hayden's friends, because, as she referred to it, Sam looks like an old skeezer. Claire, just when I kind of think I can warm up to you, you say something that makes me want to smack you in the face with a chair. But Claire does find out the information, although she does say that she shouldn't have said that to Mick. I'm sorry, she shouldn't have said that to Sam earlier, but he does look like a creeper. I'm like, I'm sorry, when was the last time you had your eyes checked? Seriously? It turns out Claire did get some information and finds out that Hayden was seeing an older guy. Sam then turns around and asks Claire how long she's been lying to Jody. she panics for a minute when she thinks that Sam told Jody the truth about what she's been doing. Sam, being the stand-up guy that he is, did not. But it turns into a very nasty little argument, where, I'm sorry, Claire's being a total spoiled little brat. Basically throwing in Sam's face that, that she feels like the Winchesters kind of just show up in her life when they feel like it. She accuses Sam and Dean of acting like they care about her, when Sam responds that they do care about her, which they do. And Claire's response back is, stop treating me like I'm a stupid kid. Sam's response is, then stop acting like one. Which is perfectly fucking reasonable because she's acting like a petulant teenager. I'm not saying that Claire has not had her share of terrible things happen to her. Goodness knows she has. Both her parents are dead. She's been in foster care. She was possessed by an angel for a little while. I'm sure that fucked her up. She wound up in some very bad company, and she's been through some heinous shit. I'll be the first to admit that. There is a saying, do not bite the hand that feeds you, and there is no reason to kick somebody in the balls when they're trying to help you out, which is what Sam and Dean have always tried to do for her, and she has always been a disrespectful little... I won't use the word, but it starts with C, ends with T, and the middle letters are U and N. Claire does the mature thing here and storms off. Unfortunately, there's no doors for her to slam. And after storming off and finding herself alone by what looks like a football field, which they're near the high school, she is attacked by this same figure that we saw attack Hayden and her brother Ben. And the person removes the mask after they've got her on the ground. They've got fangs, so it's obviously a werewolf, and they bite her in the shoulder. And we get a commercial. Sam finds Claire on the ground, bleeding, disoriented, and in a deep shit because she's now been infected and is going to become a werewolf. Back at the hotel, Sam and Dean are trying to figure out what to do. I mean, their thing is that she can learn to control this. Claire is of the opinion that she'd rather die than turn into a werewolf. What they plan to do is this plasma therapy that Sam had found out about, which Mick finally admits it was done on mice with infected blood, and it wasn't really successful. The one time it was tried on an infected human, they died, and it was hell. But they're willing to try it, if nothing else, because they don't want to put Claire down. They care about her. Mick tells them what they're going to need is blood from the werewolf that infected her. Sam and Dean go back to the bar to get blood from Connor. As far as Dean's concerned, probably by punching him repeatedly in the face until he breaks something. They tell Mick to stay with Claire, and Dean makes it very clear that if Claire is somehow hurt in any way by Mick, he's going to kill him. Mick, like I mean, stays with Claire. Sam and Dean find Connor at the bar, grab him, and Sam takes out a knife which has a silver blade. The thing is, when he touches Connor with the blade, nothing happens. Nothing. Other than Connor being terrified that he's just been punched in the face and there's a guy in front of him with a knife. There's no reaction to the silver. So Connor's not the werewolf. The moon's coming up and Claire's starting to change. Obviously she's in a lot of pain, and the wound on her shoulder heals up. She's starting to wolf out. Claire begs for Mick to shoot her. And although he tells her that there's a guy that he knows that would shoot her, this second, and he knows his instinct is telling him that's what he needs to do. That's what he's been trained to do. he can't do it. He tells her that his instincts haven't been very good. So Mick actually shows he has a heart. Mick says he wants to restrain her with a belt. Kinky. And he's also going to sedate her. And that hopefully, once he sedates her, Sam and Dean will come back with a cure, and she'll wake up and everything will be all right. The thing is, before they can put this incredibly humane plan into action, humane for the British men of letters, who for the most part seem to be a bunch of murderous bastards, all of a sudden the door flings open and it's not Sam and Dean, it's the masked guy from earlier. He breaks into the room, throws Mick up against the wall, knocks him out, and then takes off the mask, and it turns out it's Justin, the bartender that Mick and Dean had talked to first. He punches Claire in the face, knocks her out, and kidnaps her. Sam and Dean come back to the room, find it a mess, and find Mick trying to get his marbles back all in place, and he tells them what happened. Mick also tells them that he put a tracker on Claire in the pocket of her coat, and that they'll be able to find her that way. The werewolf, Justin, has Claire taped up, from the look of things, back at his place. He tells her that he's going to, she's going to change. It'll be easier once she does change and once she's fed. He means fed on human hearts. And that he had been part of a pack, and the pack was destroyed by hunters with weapons he's never seen before. So that means either American hunters with British men of letters tech, or it means more British men of letters are here. I'm not sure which. Justin forces a heart into Claire's mouth, but she spits it out. But now she's got a taste of blood, and she starts changing even faster. Her eyes have changed. She's growing fangs. And the Winchesters and Mick find her and break into the place, and there's a huge fight. During the fight, Claire gets free and goes after Dean and Sam. Mick winds up shooting Justin dead, and after they shoot him, they take, and Claire gets knocked out, or knocked down, not out. They fill a syringe up with blood from Justin's body. Sam holds her off for a second while he's trying to reason with her, and Dean injects her with the blood. She kind of steps back and starts kind of just crying out. It's not almost howling, really. And we get a commercial break. We come back. She's lying on the couch in Justin's place, going through these violent, incredibly painful looking convulsions. I mean, think the worst seizure you've ever seen and multiply that about 9, while you're watching somebody who's got fangs and blood around their mouth and claws and everything like that, going through, something that looks like a cross between detox and a fit. And it's killing Sam and Dean to watch this, and Mick's not looking real happy either. Dean can't even take it. He leaves. He's like, I need some air, and walks out. All of a sudden, Claire goes still. I mean, still. And Sam calls back to Dean to come back in. Dean comes back in, and they're all kind of just sitting there looking at her, not knowing what to do next. Claire starts changing back to normal, and for a minute, the Winchesters and the audience are like, oh no. Werewolves don't usually change back to normal like that unless they're dead or dying. And after the change happens, Claire wakes up. She's fine. She's cured. So the werewolf cure apparently does work. Although Mick does refer to her a little later on as a miracle. Back at the hotel, the Winchesters and Mick are leaving, and Sam and Dean say that they'll give Mick another chance when he asks them if they're good. Sam responds to that they're not quite good yet, that they'll give him another chance. Dean tells Mick not to mess it up because there isn't going to be another chance after that, which Mick seems to accept better than I thought he would. We see Claire coming back over to the Winchesters and Mick. She says that Sam asks her, is she going to tell Jody the truth? She says she's not sure yet. But we see her going back to her car, and she's on the phone with Jody's answering machine, and she leaves her a really, really nice message. I mean, she's really truthful with her. She tells her what she's been doing. She tells her that she's hunting. She tells her it's something that she has to do. But she tells her that she's going to be okay. And she also tells her that she wouldn't be able to she wouldn't have the strength to do what she's doing if she didn't have Jody for a mom, which I thought was incredibly sweet. And she tells her that she loves them. She loves all of them, her and Alex. And we see a montage where she's hugging Sam and Dean goodbye. And she had said earlier on that she knew that Sam and Dean had her back. She had even told Justin that she had a family when Justin was telling her that the pack would be her family. They'd make a new pack and be their family. She was telling him that she had a family and they loved her. So apparently the penny finally dropped. We see Claire get in her car and she drives off while Joan Jett and the Blackhearts version of Real Wild Child is playing. And the episode ends. We found out a couple of things also during this episode that I was like, that's really cool. We found out that Alex is studying to be a nurse, which I think is really neat. I really like that. I enjoyed Ladies Drink Free. I give it 4.5 bouquets out of 5. I know a lot of people don't like the character of Claire. I have to be honest, there's times I don't like her either. But there's times I don't like myself, you know. I mean, just because you love somebody doesn't mean you always like them. I'm not saying I love Claire as a character, but I can understand being that hurt and being that angry and lashing out. She's not a bad kid. She's not. She really isn't. I wish people gave her more of a chance. Catherine Newton did a great job. She always does a fantastic job. I love Catherine. And Adam Fergus, dude, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm warming up to you. I was determined to hate Mick. I was like, he's just another one of these bastards. Don't trust him. I don't trust Mick. But I think Adam's a fantastic actor, and I think he did a great job. I really liked this episode. I thought it was really cool. Next week's episode, The British Invasion. There's obviously more conflict going on with Mick and his higher-ups at the British Men of Letters. We know that Mary's back. We know that Crowley's back. But even more important than all of that, Eileen is back! Woohoo! Snoopy Happy Dance! I'm so excited. Hunter Eileen Leahy is back, which means there's more of a chance for Sam and Eileen to get together! Because I totally ship that. Sam and Eileen forever! So I'm really excited about next week's episode, and I hope you guys are too. And that is going to wrap up another week here in Platinum Rose's Garden. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you have any questions, comments, queries, money, chocolate, anything like that, you want to send my way, PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com. Put PRG in the header, and I will know you want me to read it on the air, and I will totally do that. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, where I am a lot, you can follow me over at PlatinumRoseLady at Twitter.com. And come check out my stuff. If you are enjoying my goofy little podcast and you'd like to hear more of my melodious tones, There is also the other show that I am involved with, other shows I should say, on the interwebs, and those would include Subject Cinema over at subjectcinema.com, which is me and my dear sweet long-suffering husband TC. We talk about movies and have movie reviews and, you know, opinion pieces and all kinds of fun stuff like that. We're not exactly serious. We can be serious. Sometimes we just most of the time aren't. Hooray, honesty. There is also our other show, Front Row 5 and 10, which is a list show. We have a lot of fun. We make up top 10 lists or top 5 lists, which are usually 2 different things. This past week's show was our top 5 bad movies that we love. These are, and we're not kidding about bad. You have to really have some endurance to watch some of these stinkers, and hopefully you'll check that out as well. TC has his own podcast if you are the type of person that enjoys films about disasters. He has Catastrophe Vortex. He is a disaster movie junkie, so all things fire, flood, asteroids, meteors, you know, plane crashes, all that kind of fun, happy stuff. You can check out his show. He's super knowledgeable about that and just an all-around neat person. And there is Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie, the Lion family. They're part of our little podcast group, and you can check them out over at cavebabble.com. They are fun, great people. Please check us out. Please check out our Patreon campaign if you would like to do that. And I hope you guys have a great week out there. It's the first week of April. Hopefully that means spring is going to actually show up at some point. That would be nice. And so this is Platinum Rose Lady signing off for another week and reminding you to love the ones you hug the ones you love, and take some time to stop and smell the roses. I'll see you around. Bye.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.